you at your spot right now?
Yeah, I'm at the crib. How
Nice,
you
man.
been, bro? What's up with you?
Just this project, bro. I launched it about like a year and a half now, and trying to get a lot of the homies that we met and we know on the road from conventions and guest spots. It's been quite the journey with this, just kind of like you, especially when you kind of downshift to adjust your schedule, slow things down. We don't have to be on that crazy like grind treadmill anymore, but we're still, putting on that 100 miles an hour when it really calls for it. And I'm sure owning your own
Yeah,
spot.
nah, I agree, bro. I agree, man. I don't got that stay in the shop until midnight, be back at 6 a.m.,
Right.
12 hours tattooing.
It used to
I'm
be,
still using that
yeah,
energy, but just in different ways now.
exactly. I feel like a lot of people have figured a way to downshift and really kind of just get that going on on the flip side. But that's just been one. I had like a big list of the homies that I was really reached out and everybody kind of scheduled ahead of time. But I was like, bro, I got to get Joseph on here too, man. And it was just crazy because I've known
I
your
appreciate
brother
it,
since
man.
he was piercing. You know what I'm saying? Like way before. And then I started to see him trying to apprentice, and then like I was curious how he took that shift too. That's why I was like, yeah, I got to reach out to him too, man, to get him on at some point. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing is to spotlight the shop and all the things you've done. Go ahead and give us your intro, bro. Give us your name, where you're from, how long you've been tattooing, maybe describe your style, and we'll just kick things off from there.
My name is Joseph Barrios. I'm owner of Crown of Thorns Tattoo here in Las Vegas. I've been tattooing for 16 years now. I specialize in large scale black and gray, any type of realism. So we're on the west side of Las Vegas.
Okay. How did you get started into this tattoo industry, into apprenticing? Like, what was your start like?
So honestly, bro, in the beginning, I think you know this already, but I was a street performer when I first moved out here. I used to be from LA. I lived in LA till I was about 20, and then I was like heavy in the graffiti scene. Kept getting busted, kept getting locked up. And the last time I got busted, it was graffiti on top of a couple other things, and it was looking pretty serious. So I agreed with my father once he once I got out this last time that I would move to Vegas. Because the last time I got busted, my when I was in county, my dad was actually working in county. He's an electrician. He was doing some surveillance work for them. So once I got put in intake and I got ran through the system, his name got red flagged because I was in there and he was working there. So they actually fired him on the spot, bro.
Oh, dang.
So me getting in trouble, it cost my dad his job. So the only place he could find work was Vegas. So he moved out to Vegas. I still had like another couple months left on my sentence. So I would talk to him on the phone and stuff, and he would tell me, like, hey, you should really think about getting your diploma while you're in there, and try to get into the electricians union out here in Vegas. They don't care about your record. And I was like, all right, cool. And I had got busted before I was able to graduate high school, so I didn't graduate. So I went to school while I was in county, finished up my last little bits, got my diploma, came out here. My brother was already out here in Vegas. He had already been working in tattoo shops. So I was trying to get into the union, and then my regular job was a street performer on Fremont Street, like downtown in Vegas.
Yeah.
I would spray paint those little like spray paint scenes, like the little space and
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
Vegas skyline and stuff like that. So I did that for years, bro. I actually did that even after I got done with my apprenticeship. But so my brother, he worked at a pretty famous shop out here. They're if you're from Vegas, you'll know what shop I'm talking about. But it's a motorcycle club, back shop, so it's a pretty serious environment.
Yeah.
So I would go visit him after work, and they wanted to outside, and he was just giving me the runaround about how I wasn't bringing nothing to the table, and I couldn't just be hanging out there for free. So I told him, I was like, well, I can't really afford to, hang out here. I'm just here to see my brother. He's at the bus stop where I get my transfer, so I just hang out here.
Yeah.
So I told him I couldn't afford it. So he was like, well, learn how to tattoo or learn how to pierce or do something. But if you're not going to do that, you can't be here no more. So I was like, oh shit, you guys will teach me how to tattoo. And I didn't really have any art experience back then.
Just the
aside from the
graph
street
and
performing
whatever
and
you
like
did.
graffiti
Yeah.
and stuff. But no like, actual, like I remember my first day at the shop, they were like, draw a skull. And I was like, I'd never drawn a skull before. And they were like, all right, well, fucking draw an eagle. And I was like, I've
Right.
never drawn an eagle before. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing here? I was like, bro, I told you guys, like, I'm just here to hang out with my brother. Like, you guys told me to do this in order to be around my brother.
Right.
So then from there, the dude that I was under, he got into it with the guys at the shop, and a couple weeks into me being at that shop, he had left. And he he told me I can go with him to the next shop and I can continue learning. And I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll go. So then that's when we ended up at Huntington Inc. inside the Palms. They were the ones like the original like ink show, like back in the day.
Yeah. That's
So I started working
who's the one
there,
that put that on?
and then no, that one was John Huntington and Carrie Hart.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So yeah, I started working there, and that's where I actually met my real mentor, which is Daniel Rocha. He's the owner of Seven. At the time, he was just a walking artist there. Eventually, I would like to gravitate towards this. So I just hung out with him, and I would just bug him, bro. And one day he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go back to LA. There's a convention downtown." And he's like, "If you come work for me and help me set up and break down and talk to customers and stuff, like I'll do a tattoo on you for free." And I was like, "All right, bet." That was my first event. It was a body art gallery. I want to say it was like 2010, maybe like '09.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, bro, you come from the body art days.
For
Like
sure.
it gets addicting to how good the community was, and
Right.
how much everybody wanted to see each other strive, regardless of where you were at in your career. As long as you had the right mentality, it seemed like everybody would get behind you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and
Yeah,
support you. And
you start building all these bonds with people and then open doors, a lot of opportunities to go. Now you kind of spread out that continuous growth and learning because you could only you're kind of within the confines of like your area, but now you've expanded to be able to have this opportunity to go like, check in LA, guest spot here, go to the Midwest or the East Coast and have people waiting for you and whatnot. I feel like that, I mentioned
100%.
this to yeah, it was pretty dope to see how the first convention you do, you kind of get uh it's like that you kind of fall in love with that grind because it's such a like a fast-paced thing and then you're like I like I'm sure I would like to hear your first experience at a convention but like when you first at the end of the weekend you're just like man what a rush like I did all these tattoos the first time I didn't know anything what this was going to be about and all these relationships, the new clients that you make, and you're able to tell these clients, oh, I'm actually here. This is where my shop is, and this is where, and then now they'll follow you or they'll wait for you if you're out of state, and they'll, every time you come out, and you start making this like web of like just branching out that clientele, and it's pretty. So like your first experience, you probably had like no idea what you were jumping into, right?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it was already, this industry was going way before us, and it'll
Right.
go on way after us. But at the time, it was all so new to me. I was like, oh, this is crazy. But it's like, this was and always has been the lifestyle of so many of these artists that came before us. You know what I mean?
Right.
They'd already been doing this. We
They've
just
been doing,
jumped in
yeah,
on it
like paving the way,
and
right?
just, got up to speed with everybody.
Yep.
Exactly, bro.
How long did you apprentice? Overall, you've been tattooing for how long?
About 15 years.
Okay, and then your apprenticeship with Daniel, how long would you say? Because he wasn't like your official mentor until you actually, or was he the guy you actually started off with, or he just kind of took you aside and be like, "Hey, come with me."
Yeah, so I started with
Right.
another dude named Tyler, and he's
Okay.
actually the one that got my foot in the door.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And then we just, we were all growing up at that time, so we didn't exactly see eye to eye on certain things.
Sure.
But at that time, I already met Daniel, so it was pretty easy to transition over there. And shout out to Roach because ultimately, bro, him taking me on as an apprentice led him to getting him fired at Huntington Inc.
Crazy.
And yeah, he had to move on because he decided to stick with me. And so he went and opened a private studio. I went with him. And yeah, just honestly, the both of us getting fired from that shop was probably one of the best things that ever happened to either of us.
What do you think it was that you guys kind of like bonded or seen that relationship grow as far as like this brotherhood or like him taking you on? Was it just because you guys vibe the same like-minded people, or what do you think?
Honestly, man, it was what had me so captivated with him was his mentality. Like
Okay,
everything was just whatever it was, it needs to be done thorough and legit. It
right,
needs to be done at the best of your abilities. How you do anything is how you do everything. And he would always drill it into my head. Even before I was his apprentice, when I was just hanging out with him, he would just drill it into my head just all the time, all the time. Like what you put into things is what you're going to get out. What you put into your career is, what you're going to get out of your career. How you treat your business is how your business is going to treat you. And
right.
bro, even now, my apprentice, I tell him the same shit all the time.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
like your
re-spitting out what he told me.
yeah, that's like your mantra, or like that's the kind of like that code you live by.
Or I tell my kids the same
Right.
thing, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Think about it. If we had any other job like in a different industry, they just see you 9 to 5, clock in, clock out, come home. But then there's on the flip side, when you're self-employed, this is a whole new avenue of stream of income where they might not see you all day. And literally it's not no 9 to 5, it's like a 10 to 10, you know? And
Yeah,
sometimes that's crazy to think in perspective that like my two younger boys were raised in a tattoo shop practically. You know what I mean?
same. Yeah, same
And
with my
so
kids.
they know the get down of a shoot. I could bring them if I go guest spot. There's 2 times that I took them with me, and they're just so well. They already know the how to behave. They already know code. They already know like shop ethics, and they're just like 11 and 12 now. But it's cool that
100%,
I'm
bro.
able to go to LA and I can go guest spot, or I can go visit with another artist, and they're just like, this is just like dad's shop. Like, there's those like the standards of what it's like. They're not going to be running around, and that's pretty bizarre to think, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't run around and scream. They
Yeah,
just,
they're not
yeah.
like, yeah, yeah. That's
Or
crazy.
it's not
So
like, Dad, I
then,
need this. Dad, can I get that? Can I get
right.
McDonald's? Can I get this? They just kick it. Yeah, my
How
daughter's
old are your
real.
kids now?
So I got a 9 and a 3-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
a
that age
3-year-old
gap.
boy and a 9-year-old daughter.
That's what's up. So you have, yeah, there's like a whole meaning of purpose after change that whole, like I mentioned earlier, getting off that treadmill where we used to just be like non-existent, to having to see what priorities or what's in front of you to like, actually make your time count, not only in the shop but also at home. I mean, that's that
100%, bro.
that
You
tug of
have to be
war.
efficient with your time, bro. You
Right.
have to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, with my kids, once I started, having children, things definitely slowed down for me because
Yeah.
my priorities got in front of me. And, I mean, I was blessed to have my kids a little bit later on in life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was able to work on my craft, work on my career, work on building the businesses, doing all these things without the kids, knowing one day I would have a family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Knowing it's coming inevitably.
Right.
So once the kids came, I had told myself, this is when we let off the gas and we start doing what counts. You know what I mean? Because, bro, it's like that famous saying: the only people who fucking remember that you worked late at night are going to be your kids.
For sure.
Everyone else, bro, you could be the hardest worker in the room, and it's cool. And it's, I don't, those dudes that prioritize that and their work shows, I applaud you. But it's just not me.
Yeah.
It's just not, I don't need to be the best artist in the world. I just need to be the best artist I could be. My main priority is being the best dad I could be, the best example I could be. 30 years from now, what my children are saying about me, about their upbringing and their good habits, like that's, at this point, that's the goal. You know what I mean?
Right, because that's something that you lived out a younger life, and you had your own experiences, you had your own like run-ins, and it made you kind of up to speed with a lot of reality. And so now we can sit back and think about what was like instilled into us as like a younger generation, to this new generation where it's just like so many dangers in every corner. I feel like it's crazy
Yeah,
because I
bro.
feel like
Yeah.
back then it was more so like the trouble we found was in the street. There was a tangible opposition or like this conflict. And now you could find
Yeah, it
trouble
was right in
from,
front of you, bro.
yeah. And now the issues for kids are like this new generation or artists, because somebody that just started tattooing within the year, like a new apprentice. If you want to put that like whole adolescent mindset of, yeah, you're just getting your start, there's so many more issues that are just from a screen that'll attack their soul, and it just like throws off their life.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
And it's
yeah,
just
man.
like, dude, you need to, there's a stay in your lane, and that was never an issue until now. And then we start falling into that sometimes where it's like the pressure of this new angle of the social media versus and I hate banging that drum, but it's just like one of those things that it did lead me to like have to find an outlet. Like you train martial arts too, so you're doing like the jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. And
Yep.
and I got hooked doing that because that to me was my stress reliever, but I had to start that at the start of my day. I couldn't do a night class. It would always have to be 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. rolls, you know what I mean? And that's just
Oh
because
man.
then I could
But those
start
are
my
where the
day.
sharks are at, bro. Those are like the,
Right.
you know what I mean? If you're
Everyone,
waking up
hey
at 6
dude,
a.m. to try to choke someone out, bro, like you're probably pretty
everybody
serious
that
about it.
shows up, right? Everyone that shows up at 5 or 6 in the morning, they're there to do work, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're not there for
No,
social
yeah,
hour, bro. They're there to get it in.
exactly, man. That's cool that you. I've seen a lot of artists that are starting to find that and to even try it out. Like there's some guys that that they train like whether it's like 10th Planet. Where are you
I'm
training
at
at?
Pahada Training Center.
Parada. Okay, yeah, yeah. So imagine there's a lot of guys that take it where they're even doing seminars. They're like brown belts now, or that you'll see them on like a fight to win card, and it's like that's one of the homies. Like, oh, that I know that artist. That's
Yeah,
pretty tight.
100%, bro. And it's good though, man. It's one of those things where it's like, tattooing is beautiful. It
Right,
got us all where we're at today, right? And it's very young in my career, tattooing was explained to me as a vehicle, and it's a vehicle to get you what you want out of life. You know
yeah,
what I mean? We have the blessing of being able to work, depending on what you're charging, 4 or 5 hours, and you're good for the day.
right,
You made your money. Now you can go be with your family. I use tattooing as a vehicle to fund other businesses, to spend time with my family, to create that pocket of time where I can focus on me and me only and make sure I'm good. That way I'm the best version of me. So when these other people that love me and need my help, I can be there for them the best of my abilities instead of, well, I'm stressed out because of this, or I'm sluggish because I fucking stayed up all night. You know what I
right,
mean? Like, or I
right,
was making bad choices. Like all of these things we want out of life is what most people want out of life. But unfortunately, these 9 to 5s, 40 hours is a long time, bro. 40 hours is a
right.
long time plus sleep, trying to get life in. It's sometimes you're gonna fall short on those goals, but and shout out to the people that can work overtime and still get it done. Like we see it at the gym, bro. You got
Yeah,
those dudes working 60 hours a week, still making it to practice every day,
right.
pulling
No
up in their
excuses.
boots.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's everyone has their own way of doing it, man. And we've been taught a very special skill that's enables us the ability to put in a full week's worth of effort within a couple days,
yeah,
and then we can allocate our time and get more out of life, bro. Because 20 years from now, who gives a fuck if we spend 7 days in the shop?
right.
Like real shit. Like and
Right.
I'm not downplaying anyone that does, because everybody's got to do what makes them happy. And if you're that passionate and this is what you want to do, then more power to you. It's just for me, my life, my happiness, and how my kids grow up. That's the priority,
Yeah,
and it
I'm
takes
starting to
time to
see.
do that.
Right, I'm starting to see that tattooing is a very subjective thing now, where everyone as an artist individually, they're running their own business. They're part of the industry, but the way their system, they're traversing through this industry is like their own lens. They created that to your own credibility. Everyone that you've tattooed and all these like clients that you've acquired, I feel like that gave you a sense of credibility and validation. Okay, now that I know I have my pool, that you can continue to add clients to that. But that's also been,
100%.
it started from years back with now you're able to see the fruit of what you planted kind of thing, right?
And
And
bro,
so
it's the Johnny Appleseed theory.
exactly. More and more artists that I talk to that are just kind of like, because this is why I kind of enjoyed. I was just gonna do like a 10 episode thing and like drop it, but then I had more and more people come on, and I was like, dude, this is so sick to just really deep dive into everybody's mindset and this like goal that they set for themselves or that they didn't set themselves with any kind of aspirations of the future because they're just so blindsided by, or they got those horse blinders and they're just like I'm just, this is my routine. I'm routine. And then I'm like, but then you're falling into that whole reason why people didn't want to do that 9 to 5 or whatever, because they're just, it's a routine. And now they're able to,
Yeah. There's a
yeah,
lot of artists out there, bro,
right,
that became slaves to tattooing.
exactly. And so some OGs that are like business owners, they've been in business or whatever, and they're just within the walls of their own shop. That's their own community. They don't care about anything outside of it, but it's because they're like protecting and guarding that whole system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. I
It's
don't agree with it. It's not my style, but you
right.
know, it's their upbringing. They were taught to be
Exactly.
gatekeepers. They were taught to, fuck that dude down the street. Like, nah, he
Right.
don't need to know what we got going on. And it's, I've always looked at it like this, bro. If you have some big secret to hide and you don't want to, like I'll give you everything I got. It's You can do with it what you want, but you're not gonna be me. You're gonna be
Right.
you. And that's your own lane, and that's completely fine, bro. You're not gonna take food off my plate because you learned what my drop system is,
It's
or
like
you
somebody,
learn.
yeah, it's like you telling everybody this is the machine I use, these are the needles I use. And with this setup, you could do my Joseph tats, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'll do yours and you'll do your own version of it, and that's a
Right, right,
beautiful
right.
thing. But you're never gonna be me, and you're never gonna pull the rug out from underneath me just because I gave you a couple tips and tricks, bro.
Yeah, there's a different engine that's like driving everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some out there, some guys out there are electricals, you know?
dude. Yeah, some of these dudes, man, they. But bro. Again, like we talked about earlier, your mentality on one subject is more than likely your mentality on all subjects.
For sure. And it all comes down to like the biggest thing you said was, I mean, your mentor, man. Your mentor really had built that person who you are and they gave you that start. It's that gratitude, to trail back a little bit, the time that you missed, because you're really close with your brother. I mean, he's there, right? He's there with you. You guys are like side to side.
Yeah, we're coworkers, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
So
always been
like,
best friends.
and you were out, you were just trying to like reconnect with him and hanging out at the shop to spend that time that you felt like you lost too, right? Like just because you're, I want to just hang
Yeah,
with my bro.
100%, bro. Because all that time when I was getting locked up and stuff, you know, that fool always had warrants. So he's never, like, anytime I'd ever been in custody, he never was able to visit me one time. Because
Gotcha.
if he would come visit, they'd snatch his
It's a
ass up
wrap. They
too.
snag him in. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, every time I would go away, I would never be able to see him, or we would write letters and stuff, but like, you know how that could be, bro. One page, you're not getting much out on it, and it's very
Right.
generic.
When did you open your shop? What year was that?
2015.
Okay. That's about the same time that I opened my shop, like 2015.
So you're coming up on 10 years, huh?
Yeah, man, 10 years is pretty wild to think. 10 years,
Bro, it
bro.
blows my mind, homie. It blows my Because think about it, bro. We were just on tattoo tour, running amok, sharing hotel rooms,
Exactly.
splitting fucking cheeseburger meals and shit. Like,
Just like that was a very that's another thing that built you, dude, because now, I'll still go to spots and like if I go do, let's say if it's a private like a convention or you're just doing like a guest spot with all your clients, they'll mention, or I don't know if anybody's ever mentioned this to you, but like this guy's a machine. He just won't, he's like going nonstop. Like you'll do a full arm in a day or whatever. You're just like, dude, it's like this is what I was built on this, you know?
bro, yeah. And then convention ends, they turn the lights off. You got a full day done. You got another half day you're working on. And it's like, all right, homeboy, pack it up. Let's go to the hotel.
Go
We'll
to
finish
the
up at the hotel.
hotel.
And it's like, fuck, bro. Like,
That was a different time, dude.
yeah, so you got two homies asleep on one bed
Oh
because
yeah,
they
dude.
already finished their appointments. They're not feeling it. I'm in the corner by the lamp trying to get this last little piece of the shoulder done or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? And I got another appointment 9 a.m. the next day. Got to be
Yeah.
ready for it. And then,
At
back then
your
it was like the
yeah.
after party was going on. So you're trying to hurry up and get the tattoo done to go bump elbows with your fucking
With all
whoever
the
your hero
guys,
was
yeah.
in tattooing at the time. Like that was your chance to meet him and talk to him. And it was just, yeah, it was really fast paced back then, bro. It was
It's
really,
crazy.
really fucking fast paced.
At what point did you see like because I admire the fact that you're a shop owner, you have an apprentice at the moment, right? Or no?
He just finished his apprenticeship, yeah.
Okay, cool. So being a shop owner, you're still there putting in that elbow grease, you know what I mean? You're still mopping, you're still taking care of a lot of the stuff yourself. That just shows how
Yeah.
you're really like, you're really taking care of the spot. Like this is your house, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I'm sure you're very much so the same way, where it's one of
Oh,
those things where it's like I would never make someone do something that I'm not going to do.
for sure.
You know, that if whatever a rule is, like, you know, like we have a rule at the shop where it's like, you know, if you got a little kid and you're getting tattooed, like the kid can't be here, you
Right.
know, because eventually, you know, whatever the case is. But
We
so
just know
that
how it
being said,
is. Right.
hey, but if that's me, I can't bring my kids if I'm getting tattooed. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Or whatever the case is. Like, hey, no groups. You know, I don't want a large group in here because you know you don't need five dudes to watch you get a fucking name on your wrist or
Exactly.
whatever the case is. You know what I mean? Or even if it's a full day, bro. Like, I think the tag along homie realizes like 3 hours in, like, damn, this is gonna be a long day. Like, I don't know if I should have been here. You know, but so
Right.
with these groups, you know, I try to tell the guys not to bring them. So for myself, like I tell my clients the same thing. Because the last thing I'm gonna do is like, hey, yo, you can't have these people here, and then I bring in a group of six, and we're all having a good time. You know what I mean? People
Right. Right.
start,
Right.
it's gonna get you in your feelings real quick, bro, and it's got
Yeah.
to be equal.
And it kind of sucks because then it feels like you're trying to host for everybody or something. And
Yeah, bro.
I appreciate the fact that clients will ask, they'll be like, hey, so and so. I'm be like, well, if you don't mind, this is gonna be a long session. What are they gonna do? It's like
Yeah, exactly. And it takes that one full day for them to realize.
absolutely. If they've
The
been
only
through
ones that seem to hold
yeah.
on is like like the clingy boyfriends. They're the ones, bro. They
Yeah.
don't care, bro. They'll sit there all day. I mean, they ain't going
They're gonna
nowhere.
thug
They're
it
not worried
out. They're
about
gonna
it.
ride, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, they're gonna see this through.
They're gonna see that through, yeah, because they're just there. Yeah, that's funny. That's a true thing. How did you come up with that name of Crown of Thorns?
Crown of Thorns. We basically, my brother helped me out with it. The Crown of Thorns itself, to us, to me, my brother, is one of those things where we look at it where it's it's the ultimate symbol of sacrifice. You know, I'm a Christian,
Right.
and you know, my beliefs are that Jesus died for us and our sins. You know, he gave himself up to wash the sins off of us. And to me, that's one of the biggest sacrifices that you could ever give, you know. So in my life, anything and everything that I sacrifice for my people or for my kids or for myself or whatever it is that I'm sacrificing for, none of those equal to the sacrifice that he made. So anytime, you know, when you're looking down, not looking up, that's my opportunity to be like, tell myself, you know, like, bro, you didn't sacrifice as much as that. So you can
Right.
keep going. You can keep giving a piece of yourself for the greater good of things. So it's just that reminder, bro, that if you want something in life, you're going to have to sacrifice to get it.
And how'd you when you stumbled upon the building, did you kind of what motivated you to really like pull the trigger on it? Because I'm sure it was a scary thought, right? You're like, oh, I'm about to dive into this and
Yeah, bro. It was one of those things, man, where truthfully, the first building that I looked at, I was like dead set on. And it was close to where I had, like, when I originally moved to Vegas, it was like in that area, and I really
yeah.
liked that area, and you know, so I was like, I want to stay around here. The demographic is good, you know, like the median annual income, because like I was looking at all aspects of it,
Oh,
you
you broke
know,
it down. You're looking at like the
who lives there, what
yeah,
businesses
yeah,
are
yeah.
around
That's
me, you know
smart.
what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, this is because, you know, bro, you know, minimum 5 years, so half a decade we're gonna sign on for a contract at
absolutely.
a, you know, couple $1,000s a month times 48 months. We're looking at, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars at the end of all this. So it's things you have to pay attention to, man.
Yeah. Who taught you all that? Who taught you the business side of it?
Uh
Or is that something that you just kind of like you self were like really really aware of all that?
I mean, I can't say I was like fully aware of all these things, but when Daniel got hold of me, bro, he was always questioning me, always testing me. You know, we'd be driving down the street, he would ask me just on the fly questions, you know, and then whatever I would answer with, then it'd be like a full breakdown of, you know, why this mentality won't work, or if I am on the right track. And you know, a big part of my life was finding, you know, like people I look up to, I call them the North Star, I aim for the North Star. This is what I want to be like. You know, this is the level I want to get to. But oh, no man on this earth is perfect. So if I can do all the things this person does correctly and all where they're fucking it up, if I can capitalize on those mistakes, not make those mistakes, and do all the right things that they're doing, then we're bound to pass them.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to look at these people in a negative way. Everybody needs improvement. Everybody's lacking in one way, you know, so you just got to find the best of the best, and where they're making mistakes is what's holding them back. And if you can capitalize on that, you know, you can surpass these people. And I think any person that has his arm around you or is, you know, trying to teach you to come up, I think anybody that has a good soul, initially that's going to be what they want. You know, like I want my children to pass me. There's no
Right.
greater feeling. You know, my apprentice, I want him to be at a level that I can't catch. Like you
Right.
take the torch and you carry on, bro. Because at the end of the day, homie, I'm fucking tired. And you're
Yeah. Yeah.
motivated. You just got started. Like, get to it, bro.
Right.
Here's where
That's
I
what I
fucked up.
meant.
And
Like
I,
you're
I
already
have this
putting your
conversation
time.
all the
Yeah.
time. I tell my apprentice
Exactly.
all the time, bro, these are the mistakes that I made. This is where if I could go back, this is where I would try to improve things. You know what I mean? You have this information. Don't make that mistake.
Yeah. And so when you first started, who all went in with you? Was it just you and your brother, or did you already have like another artist or a few chairs filled or
So I had 3 chairs filled already. You know, I had already, before I had started building the shop, there was a couple cats in town that I had reached out to, and I had let them know like way ahead of time, like, hey, I don't got a location yet. You know, I don't know where it's gonna be, but we're like minded. I'm gonna make the move. I'm gonna pull the trigger. You know, if it's something that you'd be interested in, you know, I'd love to have you on, but I don't have any information yet. And luckily, everybody I reached out to was like, bro, run it. When you're
right?
ready, let us know. You know, whatever side of town, however you got it. When you got the spot, we'll come down.
Right.
So I started off with 4, and then, you know, bro, over the years, at one point I had 11, at one point I had
Oh, sure, sure.
4.
At one
You
point
know,
you probably
there's
had like a full shop. Yeah.
too many motherfuckers in there at one point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's its own stress, right? Yeah, the money's good, but now you're babysitting 11 dudes
Right.
and 11 different personalities. You know, you know,
There's a lot of things to manage that
everybody
you don't really want to get into all that. You don't want to seem like that micromanager, but that is again, that is your house, you know?
100%, bro. And if you're presenting an image to the community, and you have a business model that you want to be seen as, you know, this is, you know, almost a dozen people that we need to, like, hey, bro, I know in your personal life, you know, you do whoop de whoop whoop, but when you're in this building, you need to act accordingly.
Right.
What you do outside, you know, I would hope you make good choices, but I can't control you. Just know when you're not in this building, you're also representing this place, even when
Yeah.
you're at the
Don't act a
bar
fool.
or
Right.
if you're out and about.
How did you guys start like with promotions and having to really get the traffic into the shop? Was it a busy street, a busy area, or how did you start really kind of getting a lot of those people to come in and like the clientele and stuff like that?
So the clientele, mainly I went after dudes who were already self-sufficient.
Gotcha.
You know, I tried to open a shop that was more of a still a tattoo shop that would take walk-ins and, you know, and do tattoos on the fly, but just kind of being private studio-esque. Like, you know, like the insides would be a private studio, but to the outside world, we looked like a tattoo shop that was ready for anything.
Right.
But we would essentially just, you know, how I would talk to the guys is like, you're going to have a base rent. We're not going to run you on percentage. You are in charge of your own business. So you get your own LLC, you get your own business accounts, you take care of everything. I'll give you a good price and I'll give you complete freedom and I'll give you a good reputable facility to work in. But at the end of the day, you're 100% in charge of your world.
Yeah.
If you're not tattooing, that's because you're not tattooing. So if all the dudes next to you are tattooing every single day and you're not, there's something you need to be doing to change that.
Right. That's on you. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. Because if not, if you want me to babysit you and find you clients and yada yada, that's when you're giving, the owner half your money.
Right.
If you can't do it, and and I know everybody runs it different, and I don't tread on nobody however they run it, but it's just in my opinion, if you're bringing all your own people in and you're handling business and you're punctual and you got good customer service and the artwork's there and you're organizing everything well, you deserve all the money.
Yeah.
You deserve everything because you're doing all the work. But
In
if I
your
need to
area where
organize for you, yeah,
yeah. I mean that's basically exactly that's what I was thinking talking about too, how everybody has their system and that I agree with literally giving everybody that. I mean, you're even putting them on game on how all this works working for a shop because now you're creating the standard or showing them what your standard is. And now let's say they branch out and go to a different spot, well they carry that standard with them, you know?
100%, bro. Yeah, there's a lot of artists that have left, and it makes me proud taking that mentality and created their own version, their own world with it, And it's like you can see, and it's flattering, bro. I'm sure you've seen it yourself. You see, someone leave and they go and they branch out and they do their own thing, and you can see a little bit of you in them
Right.
as they're moving on. It's like, oh, he kept that with him. That's beautiful. I love the fact that that meant enough to you, where you're implementing this in your everyday life still.
For sure.
Regardless of whatever's going on, it obviously had enough of an impact on you to where you're still using these strategies today.
Absolutely. And so your area, West Vegas, like you get a lot of the tourists or the travelers. Like, how do people when they come in and they talk to you, how do they run into your work or how do they hear about your shop? Is it like what's your like? Because Vegas is that's like a destination place for a lot of people. They've like
100%.
the different areas of Vegas, you're gonna have a different crowd, a different chaos, and so it's like
Oh,
how
yeah, definitely.
have you ran into a lot of that too? Like what while you're first like within the first 5 6 years, you're like, okay, when this happens, I need to know how to handle this situation or whatever.
So, yeah, like in the beginning, there was that whole like, we got to push and push and get people to know us. So we would like go down to the strip and stuff. And we're not very close to the strip. So
Yeah,
we're probably about 15 minutes off the strip in a car. And then you just kind of get to the point where you start to realize like these people are for the casinos and are for the street shops that are right there. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these dudes, they're not coming in looking for a full day if they're here on vacation.
right,
They want to get a little matching stuff and get on with their day. And that's what those casino shops are for. You know what I mean? That's the little souvenir side of it. Our demographic is more aimed towards, as far as the traveling clientele, is the people that they found us either at a convention or a guest spot or, just the algorithm or whatever the case is. And they're coming for the larger custom pieces. So we try to, cater to that side of things.
sure,
That's the demographic. Those are the people we want. And then as far as the local community goes, the people that are doing well in life to be comfortable, to have a little bit of that fuck it money, those are the people, that's the demographic that I'm shooting for. I own this, or I manage this, or I run this, or, I'm retired and I used to do, what have you. But the people that I aim for and my guys aim for are usually the more responsible people who made a financial decision to get this large scale work. And most of the time, that type of mentality is what resonates with us, because they're making well thought out decisions.
yeah,
This isn't just some impulse stuff. They're willing to sit on the books for a while. They're willing to be open with their ideas. They budgeted, they saved, they game planned for all of this. And we take our work very serious here. So we appreciate the clients that take it serious too.
yeah. It takes a lot of stress off of you too, because it's like you're genuinely doing the things that you have a passion for, and it eliminates a
And
lot of
it
that.
makes you
Yeah,
easier to work with.
yeah.
You're more willing to be around these people that are making good decisions. If you got these, again, more power to everyone that does, but like the flashy, young, I don't care what it is, I just want to get blasted. Like that's cool and all, bro. But at the end of the day, that kind of clientele comes with headaches.
Right.
It comes with problems. You know, it
Yep.
comes with drama. It comes with, you know, I want my clientele to be the clientele that eats at the fancy restaurants and isn't worried about a Yelp review or isn't worried about, you know, it's
Yeah.
if you ever go on Yelp, bro, you'll see the least expensive types of stores and restaurants are the ones with all the reviews.
Oh, for sure.
Those are the ones, bro. The cheap seats get complaints, bro.
Yep.
So instead of dealing with that headache, I'd rather just focus on, you know, bigger fish. Because a
That's
lot of
funny.
times they've
That's
been through experience in life, so they can understand where you're coming from.
No, that's a good point that you said because if imagine if you start thinking what kind of clientele I want to attract, it would probably change everything because then you're more purposeful of how you're gonna what kind of work you're putting out also. Like what kind of work are you gonna be advertising as your yellow pages or this is your commercial, right? And
100%, bro.
so therefore, like what do you want to attract or do you want to have those serious clients that really do value your work and value you as an artist because then that also it's parallel to see somebody come in and just say no, you know what, this is what I want to get done, and you have that almost like that free range to just be like, okay, I don't have to break nothing down. This guy, this is my people, this is like your
Yeah,
clients
he
or
gets
your.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's real important, man. I think, you know, we're stuck with these people in the chair for hours and hours and hours a day, you know, and that's what I tell my guys all the time at the shop. Like, you're gonna spend all day with this dude.
Right.
Make sure it's someone that you can enjoy your time with. Because at the end of the day, you know, we worked hard for a beautiful career where that's one of the biggest perks of our job is if there's something we don't want to do, if we're busy and we're making good choices, we don't got to do it.
Right.
So you know, if you have your consultation with a certain client and it's rubbing you the wrong way or whatever the case is, you know, you have free reign to be like, hey man, this isn't the project for me, but I can refer you to someone that'll be able to take care of you. You know, try to keep it in house. That's always, you know, first and foremost. You
Yep.
know, try to keep the money in the building, but not all money's good money, man. So if it's not a fit for you or your crew, don't be afraid to send it somewhere else.
It's like a lot, I'm curious how many people almost like force it, like they don't really want to do it a piece, but they still take it on. And I feel like the tattoo itself shows. You know what I mean?
100%, bro. And then you see it on their face at the end of the day. They're
Right.
exhausted.
Yeah.
We're going to be exhausted regardless, but they're exhausted. You have all this weight that you're carrying now, you know, because we're all, you know, not to sound like that guy, but we're all giving and receiving energy at all times, you know. So for someone to be putting that type of energy on you when you're just trying to create the best art you can do, it's going to mess with the product.
Right.
It's gonna. If you see someone dealing with someone that they don't want to deal with, I guarantee you that tattoo could be better if he was vibing with that client better.
So the guys that you have around you, how many artists at the moment do you have there?
I have 5 right now.
Okay. And so like managing that, is that you see almost like a family, like almost a little tight. Everyone's
Yeah, because a lot of the guys, you know, obviously one's my brother. Uh, Terry's been with us. He was my first artist, and he's been with me the entire time.
crazy.
Yeah, he's stuck with me. He's seen the entire transition, you know, over the last 10 years. My apprentice, he's been with me probably like 5 years. You know, I've had all the guys around me. The crew that I have right now is it's really truly like these are my like stress free days right now.
Wow.
Like this is the mellow. Everybody comes in, they handle their business. If the trash is full, no one's got to say nothing. It's a bunch of grown men taking care of business. You know what I
Right.
mean? Windows are dirty. I don't even got to say shit, bro. These dudes will come, they'll clean it. The floor needs to be mopped because I've spent 10 years showing these guys like I'm not afraid to pick up a mop. I'm not
Right.
afraid to throw out the trash. I'm not afraid to pick up the fucking gum off the sidewalk in front of the shop, you know? So you lead by example. And
Yeah.
10 years of these guys watching it, now it's just second nature for them, you know? And then of course I have my brother there who treats the building like it's his, you know. So it's just at this point the crew I got right now, it's this has been the most stress-free time as a business owner I've ever had right now. I'm very grateful.
How do you handle that when you find something in your life that is like really just soul sucking, draining you? Besides the clients, let's just say, because I mean, our clients see us as just like, we're these artists, we're their artists, and they make their appointment, they show up, and like you said, there's a lot of energy exchange. You do have to match levels. Sometimes you have to, but at the same time, you have this sculpt that you're creating from nothing, or if, right, because this is a blank canvas, or let's say you're jumping on a project that you've been working on. This is session three or whatever, and it's like you finding that harmony in your mind for like this whole mental strenuous job, and then seeing what is affecting you in your personal life and things like that. I don't need this in my life. I could cut this out. Or I don't need this person. I don't need this
Yeah,
really.
the thorn in your side, bro.
Exactly, the thorn on your side. Moments that you've dealt with that to keep yourself in harmony.
I think, depending on the situation, you got to be aware, bro. You got to understand that there's some things that you can control. There's some things that you can't control. The
Yeah,
things that you can control, you do what you can, Things that you can't control, you got to just, you got to let it run its course. It's going to take care of itself.
right.
At the end of the day, bro, God is good. He's going to treat you well. You make good decisions. Whatever is going to happen, whether it feels like it's the right thing at that time or not, it's going to happen, bro. Like
Yeah,
it's whatever's going to happen is happening anyway, man. So just ride the wave, unless there's something that directly is getting in front of you and stopping your ability to produce at a high level, and or it's you're at the point where like, "Oh, I don't want to come in because this person's going to be there," or if it's like this is stressing me out to the point where I can't do my work, then you gotta, intervene, and you gotta set up your boundaries, keep them high, and just, hey, I don't tolerate this. You gotta go.
yeah. There's a lot
Whatever
of
the case is, I wish you the
yeah,
best of luck, but it's not gonna be in this building anymore.
yeah. There's a lot of sacrifices that we've had to gone through, and a lot of life things that happen where we miss out, or we just it might affect you in your work, and you don't want it to affect. You know what I mean? You want to be at your 100, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things, man. I mean, you've been a shop owner for a long time. It's
Yeah,
unfortunately some of these relationships that you think are gonna last forever, they get jaded by, hey, this dude's doing better than me, like our, he got his shit together, and got this and I don't got that going on. So instead of trying to soak up game, I'm just gonna hate.
yeah,
Or I'm just gonna, well, he only got it because of this, and this. Or it's like, nah, motherfucker, he got it because he worked his ass off. He
right.
made good choices. When you were making bad choices and you were out fucking around, he had his head down and he was working. So learn from it. Don't hate on it. Because the more you hate on it and the more you guard it, the farther it pushes you away from achieving your goal.
Right.
Because again, no one's perfect. You watch them and you see what they're doing, and then see what they're doing wrong. And then it's like, all right, I can do what this dude's doing, and here's where he fucked up, so I'll capitalize on that, and I'll be that much better off by not doing this.
Even with, like, your personal life too, because I mean, you have to be well in tune to be like, you leave the shop, or even before you get, like, you turn the shop lights off, you get home, and there's things that, you know, to find that stress-free environment. I mean, you want to carry that from the shop and also your household. You want it to be stress-free, you know?
100%, 100%. Like, because our home is the place that we're supposed to have to get away from all of that.
Right.
This is when we close the door behind us at the house. That's when we get to turn it off. Whatever the world weight is carrying on you, it doesn't have to be at your home. That is supposed to be your safe place, and essentially your shop is too. But there's so many other variables in regards to the shop. Like random people aren't going to just walk into your house,
Yeah.
but you could be having the best day at the shop, and some homeless dude walks in, and the whole day gets turned upside down.
Yeah, for sure. How did you, was it hard to like take your vacations and the times that you've gone out, like to go, legit vacation, and then not have to tune in, or not have to, touch that work dial?
So now it's very possible.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, it was tough, bro. It was tough
Yeah.
because you again you have these things where I'm sitting on a beautiful beach with my family, watching my kids splash around on some white sand, yada yada yada. But you got one dude at the shop whose life isn't exactly going that way, so he wants to make your shit hard, you
For
know.
sure.
But I remember one time I was sitting on the beach in Aruba, and I don't know why the fuck I turned my notifications back on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just one of those
Yeah.
things, man. And one of the dudes called me, and he goes, "Hey, bro, we're out of toilet paper."
Oh man.
And I'm like, "Motherfucker, I'm like
Bro.
thousands of miles away. Like, there's, we have a convenience store in our parking lot. Like, you can't, as a grown man, you can't do me a solid and just walk over there and spend 12 bucks. I'll give you 20 when I get back.
Sure.
But there's no reason for you to be calling me over toilet paper right now, you know?" And but that was then. Now these guys get it, you know, that I'm blessed with the crew I have where they'll go get a case of toilet paper. And then when I try to give them the money, they don't even want it.
Right.
But yeah, now I'm in a place where I can turn it all off, and you know, it really just runs itself at this point. Before, years ago, it needed to be managed.
Yeah. When did you see that like transition when you were able to do that? Like what year would you say made this huge change of, being able to realize all that?
So I think it, you know, in the 10 years I had the shop, I think it came in waves. I
Yeah.
think initially the first year I busted my ass. The first year I was in the shop, I think like the first 9 months, I worked every single day. I didn't
Yeah.
take any days off, just making sure that the business idea worked. You know what I mean? And then I took some time off. I was in a relationship at that point where we didn't have kids or anything like that. So we traveled. We traveled like crazy. And so for those couple years, it did run itself. And then, you know, say year 6, 7, that's when things got real busy, real ramped up. And then it was a lot of personalities to deal with, a lot of, you know, some of these dudes are super responsible. Some of these dudes live with their mom. Some of these dudes have nice cars. Some of these dudes don't drive, period. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's, when you have that many people in there, it's hard to keep that core value mindset of this is where we need to be at, you know, because I used to push on the guys all the time, and I still do, but now these guys get it. But I would tell all my artists, find another business. Keep tattooing. Use tattooing to fund your next business, but you should have another business in motion right now. You should be having money, making money for you
Right.
when you're here,
Like a
you know,
passive
and
income, right?
exactly, bro, because we can't tattoo forever. We
No.
can't. There's no fucking way, bro. If you have tattooed 3 full days in a row, 4 full days in a row, like, you know what it does to you at the end of the week. You're exhausted, bro. Now to do it for fucking 20 years, some people can, but in my opinion, I think you missed the boat. I think you're gonna do some cool artwork, and I think you're gonna inspire a lot of people. But I think you're not getting everything out of life that you should be getting if you're spending that much time strapped to your toolbox.
Yeah. No, recently I've been through that same kind of, shift and transition because it's like, and it was hard to get adjusted to that because we're just wired that way. We're wired
Yeah, we're programmed
already.
to go.
Exactly. We're just so programmed by all this, like, that's like our PTSD trauma. You know what I mean?
Straight up. Yeah, I can't
So,
go back to failure. I can't go
no,
back to
no.
doing
So, like,
shop
taking,
minimums.
exactly, even taking a vacation, you feel like you're failing. You're like, bro, like, I gotta, so it was hard, it was hard to transition that out,
But
but
it's good, bro,
learning,
because you know, at the end of the day, homie, your lady and your kids, that's what matters.
right.
That's what counts, bro. Because again, when you get home and you close the door and you turn off the rest of the world, that's what's in front of you.
Yeah.
How your kids look at you, what they think about you is everything.
Yeah.
Because you could be that fucking flashy ass, I travel all year round, I'm tattooing day in and day out, no days off, yada, yada, yada. And it's cool and all. But all your kids is going to see is some stressed out motherfucker walking in the
Right.
door at 11 o'clock in the morning, some stressed out motherfucker trying to hurry up and eat his breakfast so he can get out to the shop, you know, and then you leave all the responsibility on the mom,
Yeah.
you know, and then that builds resentment. And then, because at the end of the day, bro, even if we are working, you know, 70 hours, 60 hours a week, we have a very relaxed job. So we could be at the shop all day working and working and working, but we're also fucking around. We're also hanging out with our homies. We're eating good food. We're talking shit. We're playing handball in the back. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? We're at work, but we're enjoying life, you know? But we still have the stress of we need to put out the highest quality amount of work we can at the largest scale we can in this certain amount of time. And we got another one tomorrow and another one after that. So it's a lot to carry on with you, man. And I think if people just allocated their time a little bit better and, say you're doing 4 good sized tattoos a week, I think your tattoos are going to come out a lot nicer.
for sure. Yeah, slow down. I tell some people too, it's like just slowing down makes a big difference, you know?
It's huge, bro. And that's what I
Yeah.
tell my old apprentice now. It's like, bro, one of the biggest mistakes I made. I'm a very fast tattooer, bro. Like there's certain projects that should be a full day that I'm getting done in 4 or 5 hours. But if I spent the 8 hours on them, I think it would be a lot different of a product. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's
Right.
still nice enough to the point where people are coming to get it. You know what I mean? But I've really, really over the last couple of years had to learn how to just slow down and then just make sure that everything's
Same thing.
done.
That's the same thing with jiu-jitsu.
Oh, bro, jujitsu's, bro.
100%. Yeah.
Every tattooer needs to do jujitsu. Every
Absolutely.
fucking tattooer needs to do
Yeah.
jujitsu.
Cause that's one of the higher belts. One time we were I forgot what it was like a training for like one of those some tournament I was about to go to. And I remember I was just rolling with nothing but certain classes when they got open mat, there's nothing but killers and some upper belts to be like, hey, slow down. There's a lot
Yeah,
of things, yeah, a lot of things you can implement from the mat to the to actual, your life and how you do things. I mean, it's just
bro.
crazy.
It's how you do one thing is how you should do everything.
Right.
And then jujitsu, it does go hand in hand with tattooing in that aspect because it is just slow down, get the fundamentals. Like you can go out there and be flashy and have all the gear and do all, like, bro. But at the end of the day, homie, when that match starts, what you've done is what's gonna matter.
Yeah, that's
All
when
the other bullshit,
you really show what you're made out of and what
yeah,
you
bro.
know and what you've learned when you
Yeah,
put that into, you could kind of fake it and other things in life, but when you're like fighting one on one and it's really about skill technique, bro, it's like
exactly.
and there's no excuse. You're matched weight to weight, belt to belt, rank to rank.
Yeah, skill level to skill level. This dude
Exactly.
is essentially pretty close to your equal. You're not
Yeah.
in practice where you have the luxury of like, let me just pick nothing but fucking white belts or
Yeah.
low level blue belts for all my rounds. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let
Yeah.
me implement my style. It's like when you get into these matches or you start messing with these upper belts, it's you're not always going to get to implement your style.
Yeah.
You're going to have to perform and be at their level, and the best way you can do that is by having your fundamentals solid.
How often do you train?
I train about 3 4 days a week.
Okay, that's good. You know. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
try to juggle it with kids and stuff. Sometimes it's less, depending on what's going on in life.
right. What
But yeah,
hard
I try to be there.
Yeah.
Try to be there, bro, because the days that I'm not there and the weeks that I'm not there, like if I take a week off, I tend to be a little bit more stressed out
Yeah.
than when I'm
That's
than when I'm
built up
rolling.
that's built up energy that needs to get released.
100%, man. 100%. So if I can't get to practice, I'll run or, I'll hit the weight pile on the side of the house or, me and the homies, we'll go spar or whatever the case is. But
Yeah.
you got to let it out. You got to let it out, man. Because at one point you're going to let it out and it might not be when you want or to who
How
you
you
want.
want. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's, and that just creates its own set of problems.
What hard lessons would you say tattooing has taught you throughout up to this point, like within the 10 years plus, right? Because it's like 15 years, but there's some years that you may not have counted or like when you
Yeah, yeah.
felt
I would say, I mean, honestly, man, one of the big ones is just really knowing how to read people and what their intentions are. And we're never going to be perfect at this. You know, there are some people that are there around you just to capitalize on things. There's people around you that are there because they genuinely love you, you
right.
know, or they want to see what's best for you. But there's a lot of people in this world, man, that'll disguise that. And my main thing right now is I feel like I've worked very hard to give myself a blessed life, and I appreciate it, and I'm grateful for it. So I'm very particular about who I let in there now, because I've done a lot of work to get here, and I've been around people who will take that energy from you or will stop your progress with their problems or whatever the case is, you know. And I think the big lesson we all need to learn is you got to just really understand that everyone's fighting their own battles. You know, are they doing it in a healthy way to where they can interact with people in a positive way and uplift people? Or are they not even, are they blind to their problems? Are they
Yeah.
blind to their intentions? Do they not even realize that they're taking energy, or they're putting weight on people, or they're slowing people down, you know? And those people, they just haven't learned yet, and I don't have anything against them, but at this point in my life, I don't have the time to try to teach grown men how to be grown men.
Right.
You know, it's you can lead by example, and if people are soaking up game, but I can't stop what I'm doing to put too much energy into trying to change your mentality, because a lot of people don't want their mentality changed.
For
It's
sure.
comfortable that way.
It became a normal thing for them to be
Yeah,
this way, or yeah,
it works for them, so it got them this far, so they don't see a problem. You know, and that's just adulthood in a nutshell. Is we're all kids trapped in these adult bodies.
for
You know what
sure.
I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of us don't think there's anything wrong with what we're doing because we got there. Like Mike Tyson was very famous for saying, you know, like, I had this demon inside me that I needed to get rid of, but I had a hard time accepting that because that demon is what got me here. You know, and if that can get you to a certain place, you know, it's understandable, but you have to realize when it plateaus, and then change is needed.
It's like
Self-reflection is needed.
I've heard similar people tell me that they felt like they were attached to this bad habit or like this addiction because they it coincided with tattooing. So that's what made them in a sense. Like that's how they were
Yeah,
performing is to
that's how
be
they got
on.
here.
And they were like, whether it was faded or hella high or whatever, they'll be like hitting bong rips before a session and they just couldn't let that go because then, right, because then it becomes a routine and
Yeah,
it's almost like their little ritual. It's like, no, my ritual is I'll set up, I'll go out. And that was literally like a back-to-back occurrence and then they sober up and they realize that they didn't need that. It was just actually, you know, they even changed their style, sharpened their style, or feel better, or even exhausted themselves because they've been so on that hard, putting their body through all that, where it was like
100%.
that need, and this is my normal, this is my norm, this is how I tattoo. But some people also were afraid when they were sober to tattoo again because it was tied to that addiction. So it was like they felt in their mind, it was all a mind thing also too. It's like one of those like mind over matter. They thought tattooing, then they thought alcohol or whatever, or like bong rips, and then they would there's like I can't tattoo anymore. And it was like a weird trauma thing that they all connected.
Yeah, yeah. This is my coping mechanism that
A
helps me get through
coping,
this long day. And it's like, being healthy minded will
right.
get you through your long day.
Exactly.
Doing the
Yeah.
uncomfortable work is how you get there without all the other vices.
Yeah. They think that the vice is what was making them like perform this way or tattoo this way, but they're just wrecking themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's slowing you down. That's what
Right.
it's doing. It's making you come up with excuses as to, like, hey, we'll pick up on this next time. Or, oh, you're bleeding more because, and it's like, bro, you just need to slow down
Yeah,
and just pay attention to what matters. And
right.
at the time, and you also have to keep into regards, you know, your client, because we've all seen it. There's these clients that, you know, it's tattooing is such a corporate thing now. Before it was, you know, this biker cholo movement
Yeah.
where, hey, if this dude's fucking railing lines before the session, that's what he does to get in his zone, and, you know, whatever, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up and let him tattoo
Yeah.
me, you know.
Yeah.
But now it's, we live in a world of Yelp and Google reviews, and you know, like, my children's teachers, they get tattooed. You know, it's so it's just, it's, the demographic has opened up so much to where it's not this niche product anymore.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that you're catering to a different type of people. You know what I mean? Like, we've all been there, bro. Had a good weekend, go to a fancy restaurant that we're probably not supposed to be in with a nice
Right, right, right.
view, you know,
That was like our
and it's,
splurge. Like we just had this busy weekend, and now Sunday was like our treat, and then we're all
yeah, and
tripping
we earned it. We
out.
can
Yeah,
afford it. You know, it's for us, but at the same time, we should be acting a certain type of way while we're in there, regardless of
for
what we
sure,
look like. There's still etiquette to be had,
for sure.
you know. And I feel like if you want to push high end artwork at a nice tattoo shop, you have to have that same type of mentality to where we can look however we're going to look, but a certain etiquette needs to be applied every single day. A certain
Absolutely.
level of comfort for these people that are spending large amounts of money needs to be applied. And you can get away with, you know, being that street dude, that hood dude, charging $2,000 for the day, and you know, getting high and all that stuff like that. And there will be people that will still book with you. But if you're not doing those things and you are presenting yourself a certain type of way, you're opening yourself up to a whole different type of clientele.
Absolutely.
You know,
So
you have this room of people that are
yeah,
at a higher level that you want to be at, you know, and you have to, if you want to get to a high level, you need to emulate what these high level people are doing.
right. No doubt. I usually end the episode asking people about advice for someone, but this time around, I was curious to ask, what kind of advice would you give yourself back then, knowing what you know now, kind of thing, and to sit back and think about those moments of that rock bottom, and just if you were to sit back, whether you're still going through some sort of like, anchor to your back or whatever, your belt, like what advice would you give yourself, knowing a lot of the things that you've gone through and seeing the outcome?
So I would say if I could talk to myself, my younger self, what I would say would be set your boundaries high, set them early. You know, really, really take the time to self reflect and realize where you're good and where you're not good yet. And use those boundaries to protect you. You know, you have to be around a certain type of people to get to a certain level. And if these people aren't serving you and it's not an even exchange, you need to separate yourself from them.
Oh yeah,
You know, I definitely believe that whether your life is going good or whether your life is in the dumpster, I think that therapy is huge, and I think it's a great tool. I think every adult should be in therapy.
for sure.
I think we should all be speaking with a professional about our mind, you know, because if you're walking down the street and you broke your ankle or you busted your tooth out, you're going to go get it fixed.
Right.
So if you're sitting here with all this turmoil in your mind, you know, like you got to get over the taboo idea that you're broken because you're seeking help. It's, I mean, you know, I don't want to sound arrogant when I say this, but my life is, I built my life and I'm proud of what I built, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that at an early age I was speaking with a professional about how my mind is working, whether it was negative or positive. And we were able to put it all on the drawing board together and navigate a solid plan
It's maintenance.
and
Yeah.
utilize tools that are they're gonna work for, you know, these certain scenarios that are gonna come up.
Yeah. I mean, it's maintenance. It's like, the oil change on the car, same thing after so many
Hundred
miles.
percent, bro. Hundred
You know what I
percent, bro.
mean?
That fucking air filter gets dirty, homie.
Exactly. You can't,
You got to be on it, man. So I would say,
exactly.
yeah, the younger self, go to therapy, talk it out, get a game plan, find a North Star, find someone that you see that are doing it and how they're doing it and you want to be like, and do what you got to do to be in the same room as that person, rubbing elbows with them, and go to jujitsu. Fucking
Yeah.
go
Find
do
yourself a gym. Yeah.
jujitsu. Yeah, bro. Find yourself a gym.
Yeah, that's fun.
Exactly. Because that mentality and those people are pretty easy to find on the mat.
Absolutely. And to see the common grounds with everybody is just like all walks of life in that gym, and everyone's there for the
Yeah,
same
bro.
reason. Makes
And
you
we
a
all
better
just want to be healthy
person.
minded and good dads. And that I
Absolutely.
really feel like that's the main thing that connects all of us.
That's sick, dude. Well, go ahead and give us where people can find you, your shop.
I'm available to be contacted through email, fanks562 at yahoo.com, Instagram, Joseph Barrios Tattoo, or finding me at my shop, Crown of Thorns LV.
Nice. Is that your artistic name, Fanks?
Yeah, that was my old graffiti name. Yeah, yeah.
I
Fang Stub
figured. I
CA.
was like, okay, I saw that in your in your email. I was like, I'm pretty sure that was his name.
Yeah, you know, man, it's hard to let go sometimes, bro.
No, I
Like I
get it.
still, I'm not gonna lie, dog. I still be scratching windows and
Yeah,
writing my name
yeah.
on
I
shit.
same here, dude. I can't let go of my old name too. I'm just like once in a while, I'll still keep it, you know?
Yeah, bro, even my daughter, she's watched me doing it growing up. So she has her own slap tag. She's got her own little markers and
That's
stuff.
so
And,
sick.
obviously we're respectful of independent businesses and stuff, but
No, that's so sick though.
we pay taxes. So we'll fuck the
Yeah.
city up a little bit. You know what I mean? We'll be
Right,
all
right,
right.
right. I have the right.
Yeah, bro, I pay a
Yeah.
lot of money, homie.
Yeah. Dude, Joseph, I appreciate you meeting me up, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Man, I'll make sure to highlight your shop, gather all that information and slide it through. Next time I come out, man, I might have to come visit the spot too, bro. It'd be so dope to just link up again.
Bro,
I haven't
come
seen
guest
you in
spot. Yeah, yeah, I
forever.
would love that. I would definitely love that.
That'd be sick, man. Well, appreciate you, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in to the end.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you
Hell
for
yeah,
having me in
man.
mind,
Thanks,
bro. I
guys.
really
Later on
appreciate
to
you
the
reaching
next
out.
one.